this hour of the evening, Forsytes all over London are dressing for dinner. Most of them slightly overdressing, perhaps, whether for a party at home or at some well-furnished table belonging to relatives or friends. So the carriages roll up to the doors, and the coachman awaits his orders. But behind these discreet and respectable facades, who knows what dramas may be reaching a crisis?
Well, where did you get that from?
It must have dropped out of your coat. Is it true?
Well, of course it's true. Nobody sends a letter like that for the fun of it.
£500! You owe these people £500!
Damn it, Freddie, they've had 300 out of me already,
But that was months ago. And now they're going to sue you for the rest. Oh, Monty, how could you?
How could I what? I had the money put aside, and then I hadn't. Something else came up. Hey, what are you doing?
Taking them off, of course. Except that I can't. Help me.
Well, why? Why should I?
Because they're not mine, that's why. Do you think I'll go around wearing pearls that don't belong to me? You may be a criminal, but I'm not.
Now, look here, steady on.
Oh, don't you think it's a crime?
For what?
To buy things and not pay for
Well,
them.
not if you pay for them in the end, as you damn well have to. Those fellas I know haven't paid their tailors for 20 years.
This is different. And if you don't see it... Well, I'll have to be sent back, that's all there is about it. Oh, Monty.
Oh, come on now, Freddie. It isn't as bad as all that.
It is. It is.
Yes, but
It's worse. Suppose they don't take them back and sue you anyway.
Well, that's the last thing they do. Well, we can't give them up, you know. I mean, think what the family would have to say. They'd be bound to find out.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, can't you really find the money?
Well, I could. If it weren't for your father. I mean, it's all his fault, really.
Papa's fault?
Well, certainly. Sewing up all my capital in the settlement like that.
But, Monty, Papa always says that nobody spends capital.
Yeah, well, that's all he knows.
Well, what are we going to do?
I'll tell you. Your papa is going to pay this little bill.
Never. He'd have a blue fit.
Not him. He knows a good investment when he sees one. Pearls always appreciate. Why, in 6 years, this necklace will be worth over 1,000. Now, with the grandchild coming along, he'll want to be generous.
Oh, do you really think?
You trust Monty. Now then, you put it to your mother after you've told her about the child. She'll soon talk the old boy round.
Oh, it seems dreadfully wrong.
Rubbish. Now, dry your eyes, my chicken.
Yes,
yeah,
but
and
Monty...
look sharp about it.
Yeah, but, darling,
we don't want to upset anyone, do we? Not tonight, of all nights.
The birth of a child in our family is normally an occasion for rejoicing, particularly if it should be a boy. After all, a new male Forsyte is potentially an asset, a piece of property not to be sneezed at. In our case, well, we rejoiced and left it at that.
Well?
Another glass, Doctor.
No, thank you. I'm on my way to another confinement.
It was very good of you to look in again today.
Not a bit. I'd like to know how my patients are doing.
She's all right, isn't she?
She's doing very well. Delicate, of course, but organically sound. And you've got a fine son.
Thanks to you.
You know better than that, don't you? Yours?
Yes, I had to do something. Yesterday was a long day.
Yeah. I like it. I like it very much.
Thank you.
You sell any?
Oh, I'm beginning to. Not much, I'm afraid.
And suppose we say 2 guineas.
Oh, Doctor, that's your fee.
I'll soon have the picture.
You're extremely kind. But it isn't finished, I have.
Oh, we'll finish it. I'll pick it up the next time I'm here. You know, I always thought that I could paint, but I don't know. I never had the time. Does your wife know Mother?
No, I'm afraid not.
Relation, perhaps?
No.
Well, there's a decent sort of woman, a Mrs. Hawkins. I'll send her round first thing in the morning.
Yes, but I...
Oh, no, 6 an hour and all the tea she can drink.
I'm tremendously grateful to you, Doctor.
Not a bit. Not a bit. Now, letter for you.
Ah, thank you.
Late delivery. Oh, goodbye now. Look after that wife of yours. She's a good, brave girl.
Bye, Doctor.
Goodbye.
And
Don't wake him up. Is the doctor gone?
yes, and he says you're a good, brave girl. But oughtn't you to be getting some sleep? Come on, Elaine.
Oh, I'm not tired at all now. Oh, Joe, it's wonderful. He's just had his supper, and you wouldn't believe how clever he is. He seems to know all about it, much more than I do. He takes all he wants, then 4 hiccups, and he's fast asleep. Really, he seems to be quite an experienced baby. It's almost alarming.
Well, he certainly looks old enough to know everything.
Nonsense. He's beautiful. And fresh and new. And what's more, he enjoys being alive. He's sort of jolly about it all.
And so he should be. Darling, that's an idea. You know he's the 5th Jolyon.
I know. You want to call him Jolie.
Well, jolly.
Jolly for short. Then that's what he'll be. Jolly. You don't think he'll mind, I mean, when he grows up?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, people have the oddest names.
Oh, especially in England.
Oh, what about Wolfgang and Kurt and Sigmund, if you please?
Oh, I grant you those, but what about Soames? That's a name. And Swithin. And what about Jolyon for
All
that
right,
matter?
all right, I surrender. Elaine, I wrote to my father.
You did? I'm glad then that's over. What other news?
Some good, some bad. Which will you have first?
So good.
Well, you know that drawing I did yesterday? Well, Dr. Dewars bought it, so that's our account settled.
Oh, he's a kind man. But he's got a bargain.
Oh, he doesn't think so.
Bread upon the waters.
Well, as you say, he's a kind man.
Next.
Mrs. Hawkins is coming to look after you daily.
Joe, can we afford this?
She lives on 6p an hour and all the tea she can drink. We can. That's all the good, I'm afraid.
And the bad?
I've had a letter from my wife's lawyer, Mr. Soames Forsyte, in answer to mine.
Yes.
In no circumstances will Mrs. Jolyon Forsyte ever sue for a divorce.
So?
Oh, my darling. I did so want you to be my wife.
I am your wife. Oh, yes, Joe. Now I really am your wife.
This is dated a month ago. The latest of how many? 3 letters you've had from him?
Yes.
Each one asking for a divorce. Did you answer them?
Not the first 2.
Why not? Wouldn't it have been courteous?
Perhaps. But I wasn't sure what to say or do. I didn't want to commit myself. Then this one arrived. I consulted Soames, and he replied for me 2 days ago.
Finally closing the door?
Yes.
May I ask what decided you?
The more I thought about that woman, the more convinced I became that she wasn't the right wife for Joe. Well, supposing I allowed them to marry and it didn't last. I'm sure it won't. It can't last. Well, what then? Another divorce? Another scandal? No, far better, I thought, to let this affair run its natural course.
Do you expect him to come back to you in the end? Would you wish it?
I don't know. In time, perhaps?
That's a pretty bleak prospect. Well, I've had a letter too. They've got a son.
Oh?
Illegitimate.
Well, that was inevitable, wasn't it, whatever I did?
True enough, but suppose they have more children.
If they do, they know what to expect.
They're human.
Yes, human, not animals. They have the power to choose, as we all have. If they choose to degrade themselves, to behave like animals, and they do so with their eyes open, facing the consequences.
You're hard.
Realistic.
Well, I can't blame you. Passion. Strange thing. No accounting for it. However, Francis, right or wrong, I support you in this.
Thank you.
But what about yourself? You're a young woman. You may find someone else. You may want to marry again.
Oh, no. Never. Once is enough. No, I'm sick of it. Sick of the whole messy business. No, we shall go down to Leicestershire, June and I.
You don't mean to live there?
Yes. Away from London and the clacking tongues. Into the fresh air and the quiet countryside.
But June...
Oh, it'll do her all the good in the world. Children shouldn't be brought up in cities. The values are all wrong.
I shall miss her.
Well, we shall come up from time to time, of course. But I'm sure it's for the best.
Dare say, if you think so. I dare say. May I call the carriage for you?
Thank you, no. I shall walk.
Well, you will bring little June up to see me before you leave London?
Yes, of course. Well, goodbye, Papa. And thank you for being so helpful.
Goodbye, Francis.
No, try not to fret. Perhaps it'll all come right.
Her to die. I didn't. You must have thought so, but I swear I didn't. But she's dead. And I must be to blame. I must be. It's my fault.
No, my
oh, yes,
darling,
it is.
no.
If it weren't for me, it wouldn't have happened. I promise you, Joe. I swear to you, I didn't want her to
Please,
die.
Ellen,
oh,
please.
Joe, Joe,
Please,
Joe,
darling,
Joe,
please.
Joe.
Well, there it is, Julian. They're married now, and there's no more to be said.
No more to be said.
Shall you see, Joe?
No, I think not. Can't bring myself to suggest it. They would mean, in a way, condoning what's happened, and I couldn't do that.
No, dear. I do not think you could.
Anyway, Joe shows no sign. Stubborn. I wrote to him when I heard they were married. Sent him a check for 500.
That was generous.
No, I fancy they could do with it. I don't know how they make ends meet. Well, he sent it back with a note. Here, and I'll read it to you. Dearest Father, your generous gift was welcome as a sign that you might think worse of me. I return it, but should you think fit to invest it for the benefit of the little fellow, we call him Jolly, who bears our Christian, and by courtesy our surname, I should be very glad. Hope with all my heart that your health is as good as ever. Loving son, Joe.
And that is a generous letter.
Yes, he always was an amiable chap.
And what about June?
Now, I went down to Leicestershire for the funeral. Joe wasn't there.
Well, that would scarcely have been proper.
No, but I felt the family should be represented.
Indeed, yes.
I didn't care very much. It's a great rambling place they've got there. Well, I spoke to the parents, and it was settled that June should come back to me.
To you?
Well, why not? They've got dozens of other grandchildren. I haven't.
I know.
Now, you think I'm too old to look after a child? Well, I'm not by a long chalk. She's fond of me, I think. Oh, damn it, Anne. It's my money she'll inherit.
But what will Joe think about this?
He wanted her, of course. But I put a stopper on that. Wouldn't be fitting, and I told him so.
I suppose you're right. But, Jolyon, it will put a barrier between you forever.
It was there already.
Oh.
Well, I'm off. Now, take care of yourself, Anne. You're the only one left I can talk to.
Oh, dear Jolyon.
Mr. Swithin Forsyte, ma'am.
Well, Anne. Jolyon. We don't see much of you these days. They tell me you've had some trouble.
Nothing that need concern you, Swithin. But I'm obliged for your interest. Good day to you.
He's getting a bit peppery.
You are not very tactful, Swithin.
He's my own brother, isn't he? You come to a pretty pass, what? Tactful with my own brother? Tactful indeed. You're alone. Where's everyone got to?
Timothy is having a little rest.
Rest from what?
Timothy always has a rest after luncheon.
He takes good care of himself.
Hester has gone to sit with Mrs. Nicholas. Her back is worse, you know.
Now, that's odd. So is mine. It catches me sometimes, just here.
Julie will be here in a minute. She's taking a stroll in the park.
Oh, Smither, look. This poor little dog has followed me all the way home from the park.
Oh, looks, ma'am, a dog.
He must be lost and hungry. What shall we do?
Oh, poor little thing. Here, shall I get Cook to give it some scraps?
Oh, would you?
Yes, come on.
Shh. There we are. Quiet, Smither. And be quick.
Julie?
Oh, Timothy, you gave me such a fright.
Why, what have you been up to?
Up to? I'd just been a pleasant little walk in the park.
You shouldn't walk in the park alone. Anything might happen.
Oh, what do you mean? I read in the papers that Mr. Gladstone often takes a little walk in the park.
Yes, that shows you.
Anne always says Mr. Gladstone has the highest principles, whatever his politics, and we should not judge him.
Judge him? I'd hang him.
Oh, Timothy, dear, that's not quite a nice thing to say on a Sunday.
Better the day, better the deed. What is that, a dog?
There is a dog just round the corner at number 9.
That's not round any corner, it's downstairs.
Timothy...
Julie, out with it. Have you bought a dog?
Certainly not. It just followed me home.
Followed you? And you let it in? You must be out of your mind.
Oh, it was so thin. Cook's giving it some scraps.
Then Cook must be out of her mind. Feeding a dog, you'll never get rid of it.
I don't want to.
What? A stray mongrel that might be bringing in fleas for all we know?
Oh, no. It's very well bred.
Huh, how do you know? You don't know a dog from a doormat.
Oh, Timothy, it was a Christian act.
Huh.
And if you'd been to church, you wouldn't talk like that.
Well, take my advice and get it out of the house. Dogs messing up the carpets. What next? And don't let me see it.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. It got away from me. It's that agile.
Never mind, Smither. What sort of a dog is it? Would you happen to know?
Looks like a bit of Yorkshire, ma'am.
Oh, good little doggy. Did he eat his scraps?
Every bite, ma'am.
Then I shall take him upstairs.
What, to the drawing room? Oh, looks, whater'll Miss Anne say?
Now,
I said it was inside the house.
Julie!
Good Lord, it is a dog. Has Timothy seen it?
No, but he knows it's here.
Has he had a fit?
Not yet. He was lost in the park and he followed me home.
Without your inviting him?
I spoke to him because he was lost.
You should think before you speak. Dogs take advantage.
Well, I'm glad, and that's flat. Such a howdy-do.
Yeah, let's have a look at you. Why, it's a bitch.
Swithin, I do not think you should call it that in a drawing room.
Stuff and nonsense. It's a puppy. Lulu, little tight, go on, you go there. Go on.
Ring the bell! Judith, stop it! Oh, disgraceful. Swithin must take it to the police station at once.
No, I want to keep him. Her, I mean.
Now, where's Timothy? I should like to see her bite his
no,
legs.
no,
Go on,
no,
find
no,
Timothy, go on.
She's mine, she's mine. Come in there.
And what do you do with the puppies? 10 to 1 she'll have pups.
Oh, puppies indeed. A little thing like this.
Well, she ought to be worth something. I should advertise if I were you. There might be a reward. Well, Anne, I'm off. Nicholas Hospital again. Goodbye, Julie. You come for a drive one day. I'll take you to the Lost Dogs Home.
There you sit, Anne.
Little dogs of that sex are not to be trusted. You ought to know that at your age. But now that we are alone, I can speak freely. It will have followers.
I want to keep her.
But we've never had a dog.
I don't want you to have one now. I want her. I want something human. I mean... Well, if I can't keep her here, I shall go away and take her with me, and that's flat.
I think you should take a dose of sal volatile. Oh, getting into fantods like this, and you know you cannot leave here. You have not got the money, so it is no good talking like that.
Well, I'll put an advertisement in the paper, and if the owner comes, I'll give it up. But if not, I'll ask Jolyon for the money. He won't let you bully me.
You forget yourself. I do not think I bully you.
I'm upset. I didn't mean... Dear Anne, but I do so want the little dog.
Very well, dear. It will be a sacrifice. But if it will make you happier. Subject, of course, Julie, to James's opinion. We must be quite sure of the legal situation.
Warmson.
Sir?
Tell cook an excellent sweet.
Thank you, sir.
But I like it browner.
Yes, sir.
A little more, Winifred.
No, thank you, Mamma.
Well, I had a letter this morning from the police. The requisite number of days are up, and Julie can keep her dog.
Oh, good.
Though what she wants with a dog at her age, I don't know.
What else should she want at her age?
Oh, such a fuss. Why shouldn't she keep it without all this business? Police, indeed.
Because legally she was committing an offence. Now, even now, if the real owner... No, I think we've covered every possibility.
It'd surprise me if you hadn't.
Oh, well, I don't know. I can't tell.
Have you told her yet?
I thought you might drive round to Timothy's this afternoon.
Oh, does he know about it?
Will you come, Soames?
Oh, if you'll forgive me, no. I have a train to catch. Yes, if I'm not going to miss it, I'll...
Train? What train?
You know perfectly well what train, dear. I told you myself.
Excuse me. I'll be back tomorrow evening, Mother.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Warmson.
Fine thing rushing off down there every weekend, I don't know.
It's perfectly natural, dear. You were young yourself once.
Now, what's that got to do with it?
Well, everything, I should imagine. There's a girl in it somewhere, I'll be bound.
Girl? What girl?
Miss Heron, I believe.
Huh?
Soames has mentioned her once or twice.
Ah, that won't come to much. She hasn't a penny, I know for a fact. Soames more sensy.
Soames will do the right thing, dear. You may be sure of that. Now,
We shall leave you two to your wine.
Well, speaking of money, Winifred, I shall increase your allowance when the child is born by 300.
Oh, James, dear, that is kind.
Oh, indeed, sir. It was most generous.
It would have been more, but as you know, I've had a lot of extra expense lately, what with paying for...
James, you promised not to mention that again. Winifred? Oh! Oh, darling! Oh, Monty! Dear, I think you'd better take me home. Ring for Warmson. The carriage.
Wouldn't a cab be quicker?
Whatever's quickest, darling, you get it. I'm sure we shouldn't want your child to be born in the street. Oh, gracious me, here in the street. Hurry, Monty. Never mind, Warmson.
No, wait. Has Mr. Soames left the house?
Yes, sir.
There, I knew how it'd be. We must have him back.
Oh, Papa, for goodness sake, what for?
Well, he ought to be here.
Oh, what absolute nonsense, James.
I shall telegraph at once to that infernal place, what you may call it.
Do no such thing. You let him be. There's absolutely nothing Soames can do, or you either, for that matter. Now, come on, Winifred. You can sit in the hall until the cab comes. Thank you, Warmson, but I'm perfectly all right. Careful, dear.
Hey?
Didn't you think it wonderful? Marvelous. So young and so brilliant. Don't you agree?
Yes, of course.
Soames, I believe you were half asleep.
No, that's unfair. And impossible with all that going on.
Heroic, wasn't it?
And I do agree, he's very skillful. His great concentration and precision. Quite admirable.
Yes, but all good pianists must have those qualities. Didn't you feel there was more?
More?
Subtlety of phrasing, delicacy of touch, a deep understanding of what Beethoven intended, but more even than that. I don't quite know how to describe it. It's foolish of me to try and put into words something you either feel or you don't. But I believe I'm talking about love.
Love?
I think so. A great love for the thing itself, for the music. And it's so strong in him that it reaches out and gathers you in to be a part of it. It possesses you, and you surrender. Totally, completely. And when it's over, you feel you've given something too, and you're content. Do I sound stupid?
No, not at all. But, music...
Oh, poor Soames. I'm ridiculously intense about it. And it's a shame when you so generously take me out to concerts.
I hope I may take you to many more.
Of course you may. And I'll come and look at paintings with you in solemn galleries, and you can tell me how you feel when you look at a Rembrandt. That is, if there are any Rembrandts in Southwater, which I very much doubt.
No. But there are one or two stubs. And I think I've spotted a John Crome. And if the price is right...
Soames, don't talk of buying things. Have a chocolate.
Irene, I have to go back to London tonight.
Oh, thank you.
But I hope to see you again soon. I had a telegram from my father.
Not bad news.
Oh, no, nothing like that. Quite the contrary.
Oh, good.
It's my sister. My sister Winifred has had a son.
Come on, old George. No heel tappers of another.
So ho, my brave one. When you celebrate, you celebrate.
I jolly well think so, too. Yeah. Hey.
Merrick, next time we'll celebrate at your club. Meanwhile, pipe down. 2 more of the same, please, Merrick.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty state of affairs. Can't buy me own cousin-in-law drink, celebrated occasion.
It hurts me, Monty, more than it hurts you.
As the nag said to the jockey. Yeah, but as a man of the world. Yeah, and I am a man of the world, George. Don't you forget it. What's more, I'm a married man of the world. Now, you should get married, George.
Oh, not I.
Oh, greatest little woman. Here's to Freddie. Here's to dear... Extraordinary thing. I'll tell you what, Mary, George, let's have another.
Good idea.
After all, it isn't every day a fella has a son. Yeah, Jammy, there's another fella's had a son. Extraordinary coincidence. Shake hands, Forsyth.
Excuse me?
No, you've got to sit down and have some brandy with us. Everybody's got to have some brandy. Celebrate an extraordinary coincidence.
Your friend's a little noisy tonight, isn't he?
Not too noisy for me.
Oh, you don't want to drink with us, eh? Oh, you're quite right, too. I don't blame you. After all, there's nothing to be proud of in your son. Wrong side of the blanket, what? Yeah, you married the girl, though, more fool you.
Manners, Darty, manners.
I shouldn't eat you. Oh, thank you, Merrick. I hear they're calling their boy Jolly. Seems a trifle cynical to me in the circumstances.
Thank you, sir.
What's yours going to be?
Finest idea. Freddie wanted something distinguished, classical.
Oh, what about Caesar Augustus?
Oh, don't be an ass.
I know, call him Cato.
Cato? That's not a name.
I won a tenner yesterday on a nag called Cato. Here, wait a jiffy.
Well, I'm damned if I'm going to call my son after a horse. I'm damned if I am.
Here we are, in the Roman stud book. Cato. Publius Valerius Cato, by Virgil out of Lydia. Well, if you don't like Cato...
No, I don't, somehow.
Then call him Publius Valerius. There's a name that's got the right classical ring to it.
Publius? Yeah, I think Freddie might rather like that.
But why not James? Wouldn't the old man...
No, now, that's reserved.
Reserved?
Yeah.
You mean there's another colt on the way somewhere?
Well, not that I know of, but I tell you what, my old George, that fella Soames has got a look in his eye.
Gracious me, girl, where have you been?
Out for a walk. Why?
I didn't know.
Should I have told you? I'm sorry.
Not here. Go upstairs directly and make yourself look nice.
Why? What's happening?
Mr. Forsyth's here. Soames.
Is that all?
He's come especially to see you. Well, at least tidy your hair. Give me that.
Oh, why aren't you with him?
Because Milly's out and I'm making the tea. Now, go along in and don't be aggravating. Be nice. You can be if you wish.
Soames?
I'm out here.
I had no idea you were in Southwater.
No, it was an impulse.
That's not like you, to be impulsive.
May we sit down?
Why not?
No, you're quite right, of course. I'm not impulsive. I think before I speak. And I think again before taking action. But today...
Today the sun is shining and all the daffodils are out. It's spring, Soames, and even you can't resist that.
Even I? I'm a man like other men.
But more cautious than most.
I should hope so. As I explained to your stepmother, if I'm successful in my profession, and I'm beginning to be, it's because people trust me with their secrets and their business. I'm discreet and I don't give advice until I'm sure of my facts. Now, a lawyer who has these principles and who works hard is bound to do well and make a lot of money.
Of course you'll do well, Soames. It's impossible to doubt it.
Even now, I needn't go on.
It's strange. I've never heard you speak of yourself before.
No, I don't. But I must. To you. Because I want you to understand my position. The position I can offer you.
Offer? Me?
Well, Irene, you must have guessed. Well, surely you must know I love you. From the very first moment. Since the day I came through that door and saw you for the first time, it was as if I'd known you all my life. For 6 months I had no peace. I dreamt about you, day and night. And then when you came back and I saw you again, so beautiful, more beautiful than before, I knew there could be nobody else. No other woman could be my wife. No other shall be. Irene.
No, Soames, no. Don't touch me, please.
Irene.
I suppose I'm a fool. I should have known. You've been so attentive and kind to me. But I never thought...
You must have done. A man isn't attentive to a woman for nothing. I thought women had an instinct about these things.
Yes, and I have too. Other men have wanted me, and I've always known so I could draw back at once, and they've been discouraged. But between us, I felt nothing.
Nothing?
No. And perhaps that's why I'm certain we should never marry.
I don't accept that.
You must.
In time, now that you're aware that I love
No.
you...
If I hurt you, I'm sorry. Truly I am. Because I admire you and respect you. You'll be a good husband, but not for me. If I sound immodest, Soames, please forgive me. I've had to work things out for myself since I was quite young. I know very little about love, but all girls think about it. Some think of nothing else. I'm not one of them, but I've learned this. When a man shows interest in a woman, the woman knows it because in her there is some response, whoever he is. If he persists, the response can grow or die away. If it grows, then she falls in love. If she likes and admires him as well, then she'll move heaven and earth to get him.
Then a man must persist.
Yes. But if the original spark isn't there, there's nothing to grow. Don't you see that?
No, I don't. I think very few women know about love until after they're married.
Yes, and what a risk they take. I'm sure it's possible to know. Soames, you remember the Beethoven concerto we heard together?
I do. And I remember every word you said.
Because I spoke of love and you were already in love with me. But that was only music. If marriage can't do that and 100 times more, then marriage is not for me.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. I don't accept your refusal. I shall never accept it.
Please don't make it so hard for us both. I can't marry you, Soames.
We shall see.
Well, really, my dear child, I don't know what you think you're doing. To refuse a man once is perfectly proper. Indeed, one is almost obliged to refuse him the first time. But twice? Why, it's tempting Providence.
Not that I hold any brief for the chap, mind you, not my sort at all. Too damn close, if you know what I mean. But I tell you straight, girl, if you turn him down, you're a fool. Yeah, he's rich. And before he's finished, if I'm any judge, he'll be stinking rich.
It's charming, quite charming. You are a lucky girl.
You're not suggesting for a minute that I should keep it.
Keep it? Why not, dear? Why not?
You know perfectly well why not. I shall send it back directly.
I love you, Irene. Nothing can prevent me from loving you. Whatever you ask of me, you shall have. Whatever conditions you make, I'll agree to and abide by as long as you hold me to. But you must marry me. I shall never stop asking you until you consent.
I've no patience with you. There you sit, playing the piano.
There's nothing else I'd rather do.
Nonsense. One word and you could be mistress of a fine house in London. All the servants you need. Good clothes, jewels, a carriage of your own. Theatres, the opera, London society open to receive you. And a husband that any girl could be proud of. Now, just tell me once and for all, what's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Then what's wrong with him?
Again, nothing. He's everything you say, but...
But you don't love him?
No.
Then you'd better learn how to, him or some other man. Because I tell you frankly, Irene, there will be no home for you here. You're not my child.
Thank God.
You dare to say that, after all I've tried to do for you. But let it pass, I'm not vindictive. As you know, the lease of this house will be up in 6 months, and we shall move to Bradford. Mr. Lomax will be engaged in business there. Now, you may come with us or not, as you please.
Thank you, I shall not come.
Perhaps you've forgotten. Until you're 21, I'm still your legal guardian.
I hadn't forgotten.
So that when I said, as you please, I meant naturally, subject to your marrying. If you don't, of course you'll come with us.
No.
And I shall put up with your moods and tantrums until you come of age. After that, your future is your own affair. And I shudder to think what it may be.
I will not come with you.
Well, as I say, the choice is yours. But don't be a silly girl. Chances like this don't come every day. You understand? And I know what my choice would be.
Crying? Oh, come now, little girl, that won't do. There's no need for that at all. Oh, you're far too pretty to cry over a chap like that. He's not worth it, you can take my word. Cold legal sort of a fella. And that's not the kind of man for you. And you know it, don't you, eh? That's why you'll have nothing to do with him. Well, I don't blame you. Money's not everything, what? No, don't run away. And don't pay any attention to the wife. She doesn't know what's in you, but I do.
Please let me go.
No, not a bit of it. You got warm blood in you, my dear, but it takes a man to rouse it. A real man. I know what a girl like you needs. Damned if I don't, and I'll see you get it. You'll forget about Forsyth. You come along north with us, lovey, and we'll have a lot of fun together. Hey, come back.
Irene, what's the matter? Irene. What happened?
Soames. I don't love you. I don't think I can ever love you. But in one of your letters, you said that if I made conditions, you would agree to them.
I meant what I said.
Do you really think it possible to marry with conditions or reservations?
I don't know. I'm prepared to try. What is it you want?
If I marry you, Soames, I'll do my utmost to be a good and loving wife to you, in every way that a woman should. But this is my condition. I have no right to impose it upon you, none at all. But I must. If I should fail...
No, you won't
But
fail.
if I should, then I will ask you to let me go. To set me free again in whatever way these things can be arranged. You must promise me now that if I ask you this, you will agree. Will you swear it?
I swear it. On my honor.
Then I will marry you.
With this ring I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With my body I thee worship.
With my body, I thee worship.
And with all my worldly goods I thee endow.
With all my worldly goods, I thee endow.
Those whom God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.